Good evening. Welcome to Grace and Gavel, where truth meets compassion. Today we're talking about the case of the lost family. It's an arc theme when families operate like biased courts and the truth is never allowed on the record. Each episode stands alone and builds on the rest. This is a 4-part arc series. The indictment. How the family court was rigged from the start. Core question. Who decided the roles and why was there no appeal available? The narrative focus. This episode establishes the premise. Some families function less like support systems and more like closed courts, where one child is assigned guilt, one narrative is protected, and evidence is ignored. No matter how compelling, no matter how much evidence supports what is being said, it is continued to be ignored. It's almost like a circus court, right? So, key ideas. Scapegoating is a misdirection. It's an ability to escape responsibility for those that are in charge, right? It is the ability to have someone question every single thing about their core, that they are responsible. Oftentimes, there will be situations in dysfunctional relationships where there is some sort of trauma, whether that's sexual trauma, whether that's physical trauma, whether that's emotional trauma. The scapegoating is the misdirection. It is almost the thing to keep people on their toes, to keep them guessing, keep them wondering what's going to happen next. And then oftentimes, too, there's also the problem child as a procedural shortcut there, right? You are the problem child. You are the one who is always causing these issues. You tried to separate my husband and I. You took my husband away from me. You caused all these issues. Like, none of this actually happened. If you weren't here, our life might be better. And the problem with that is probably rather than the scapegoating child and the problem child, the truth teller is the person that is probably the lowest on the totem pole. This is a person who figured out intuitively, instinctively what was going on before the game even started. And they were the person that was like, no, I am not backing down. I am sticking to my guns. I know what you're doing to my siblings. You know, you're scapegoating one is a problem child, and I see what you're trying to do, and I'm not liking it, and I don't think that most families operate that way. And guess what? When I grow up, I am going to be the person who blows the whistle on all this, because this is not how things are run. This is not how things should be done. And if you're the truth teller, you know that they're constantly asking you, hey, can you just tone it down some? Hey, can you stop telling people secrets about our family? Because what happens behind these doors are our choice, our decision. We don't need everyone knowing our dirty laundry. And you're airing our dirty laundry, and you are causing people to look at us differently because you won't stop talking. Why are you talking about things that belong in the family? They are secrets of our family. But do truth tellers talk? Do truth tellers shut up? No. They threaten to literally upend the house of cards that is the unstable system that they are living in. Right? And ultimately, we know that this wasn't a fair trial. It was a foregone conclusion because people are so deep in the trenches of this facade, which is what it is. It's a house of cards, a facade. Anything you want to call it that is not legitimate, this is it. This is like a monkey circus court, right? Roles are assigned early because accountability is expensive, right? And you need to be able to brainwash and manipulate and gaslight them into coming over to your side. Teach them that it's normal. All families do this, right? All families don't air their dirty laundry. All families have like a scapegoat. All families have a problem child. All people want is just for things to continue as they've been, for people to not know their dirty secrets and them to be able to do what they want without anyone questioning them or anyone challenging them. Evidence suppressed, part 2. Gaslighting, silence, and tampering with the record. Core question. What happens when your memory is treated like perjury? Have you ever thought that maybe some of the things that you know deep within your core that actually happened, those things did actually happen? But the reason why you are questioning yourself and the reason why you're asking, like, did I dream this? Like, did I make this up? Like, what? I'm really confused because I'm pretty sure this happened, but when I mention it, no one seems to recall. Like, everyone seems to have collective amnesia, right? Is it because I'm the only person that remembers this? Like, because I made it up? Is it because, like, I'm trying to out something that I shouldn't know about? Like, what is going on? Like, why is everyone so mum is the word kind of energy? Like, that is so strange. So our narrative focus here is examining how families maintain control by rewriting reality. Now, there are multiple ways to rewrite reality, right? And a lot of people don't want to face reality because that involves accountability, being accountable for the things that you've done that you're not proud of. And you know what? We all have skeletons in our closet that we might not be proud of, right? But denying reality to someone who is your child and who you are supposed to care for and take care of, like, that's kind of a low blow, I think, don't you? I mean, so you deny that certain things have happened, or you minimize, hey, you know what? Yeah, I mean, maybe that happened, but guess what? There's people who have it a lot worse than you, right? Like, there's people who have parents that are in prison. There's people that have parents that, like, have never ever, like, spent any time with them whatsoever. I mean, clearly, given like what you're wanting to talk about, like, no, that is hardly anything for you to get upset about because it's really not that important. And you are making a mountain out of a molehill, and you're being very immature, and you're really frustrating the rest of the family because they just don't understand why you're so sensitive. What is wrong with you? Why are you acting that way? You know what? You're also very ungrateful because your dad and I, we have done a lot for you. And I feel like, you know, it's never enough for you, right? I mean, wouldn't you agree that it's never enough for you because you're constantly pulling at threads and you're constantly trying to cause some sort of chaos or disruption or something in our household. And that's just not cool. You know, and then you have the idea of them mocking you, right? Like, oh, little baby so-and-so. Oh, you are so sensitive. Oh, what should we do? Should we get you a pacifier? Should we let you have a nap? You know, it's like when they deny and you continue to ask questions, they keep upping the ante. They keep getting more and more disrespectful and not wanting to talk about it, right? And then they minimize, you know, and essentially, rather than acknowledging your feelings, which would be easier to do, it's minimizing. Oh, it's not that bad. Oh, you're sensitive. Oh, you're a baby. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that, right? And then mocking you. And then comes the idea, like the big guns, the bazookas come out. And the collective amnesia. Everyone seems to forget that this stuff happens. And I don't know if it's an idea of people are actually using, like, blocking out things that they find that are unfavorable or that they don't really want to rehash and go into again just because it's painful. I mean, it could be multiple scenarios, right? Because sometimes we don't want to think about the bad things, and the bad things stay with us, you know, especially late at night when you're up and, like, your brain just will not go to sleep. I don't know how many of you deal with that. I deal with that quite a bit frequently sometimes. And that's a scenario where it's like, okay, well, and ultimately all of these are dirty tricks. These are absolute dirty tricks. And if you were in a court of law, this would be legal misconduct, right? Because you're not being honest. This is committing perjury, essentially, right? You can't deny things that you know to be true. That's perjury. Minimizing, scapegoating, mocking people. Like, that would not be correct in a court of law. Granted, this isn't really a court of law, but it's just to kind of give you the idea of what's going on here. And then key parallels, like gaslighting. Like you essentially, do any of you know, and I'm sure most of you do, know the term behind gaslighting? Essentially, there was a movie, I believe, like in the 50s or so. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure on that. But essentially what he was doing was the husband was trying to convince the wife that she was crazy. And how he would do that, back then they had like the pilot lights or whatever that you would light. And so he would sneak downstairs to their basement and he would essentially turn off the gas light. And so she, when it first started happening, she was very confident that she had not turned it off. And so she would say to him, no, I did not turn it off. I actually lit it, and it was lit before you got here. So she was very confident about that the first few times. But as you know, as gaslighting goes on and it gets stronger and stronger and stronger, meaning you start doubting yourself a lot more. Like the first few times you're like, oh yeah, you're very confident. But after this pattern keeps happening, you start kind of wondering, like, did I actually turn the gas light off? Like, am I like losing my mind? Is like my brain, am I forgetting things? Like, am I doing things that I'm not realizing that I'm doing? So essentially the whole goal is to essentially make you feel like your reality is not the actual reality, that you're crazy, that you're hallucinating, that is a very, very dirty, nasty trick to play on someone, especially someone that you would claim to love, especially your children. What are you teaching your children? To teach them that the things that are being said are not real. That is abuse to a whole nother level. If you think, that's just crazy. Or you're too sensitive is similar to attacking a witness who says, you hurt me. Yeah, well, you're too sensitive. I'm sorry you feel that way. Can you imagine discounting someone's experience that you've harmed and then just have that attitude like, yeah, whatever, I don't really care. Who says that? Who acts like that? And silence would be treated like obstruction. Right? Because when someone's trying to figure something out and try to work through things, for you to like stonewall them and ignore them, tell them they're too sensitive, attacking them and gaslighting them. If the record is never allowed to stand, the truth never has a chance. And ultimately clearing the air, if these parents really want to work through things and family members, you got to try to clear the air if there's even a chance of reconciling or figuring it out. And again, as I've said, I'm not asking for, evidence of what happened to anyone, right? I truly know that a lot of you have experienced a lot of trauma at the hands of family, which is unfortunate. And my heart goes out to you for that, for sure. But ultimately, it's like, we don't have to relitigate these things because we know them to be true, right? And a lot of people are like, well, what happened to you? Like, let's play the game of, is my trauma worse than your trauma? There's no reason to do that, right? If people's stories are their own. And so in no way would I have someone tell me exactly what happened. Okay, well, that's a level. No. If you feel that, if you've experienced trauma and if it affected you, you have every right to say, I am a trauma survivor. I am working on becoming whole. I'm working on becoming healed and being redeemed, right? That is what I want to do. I want to be integrated, redeemed, and be able to get rid of some of my coping mechanisms. And that is an awesome, wonderful goal. And that is something that I learned here recently, and that is something that I have as a goal for myself. And I am looking into potentially doing some content on that as well, because I think that is just as important, right? For us to be whole and for us to be able to move forward the best that we can, right? The best that we can and be the best people that we can. And I know each and every one of you want that for yourself too. And you want that to break the generational chain, break the generational curse, if you want to call it that, and be whole for your family and future generations, right? What a lovely, beautiful gift that would be. And my hope is for each one of you to achieve that and to get that, right? Because you deserve it. You are worthy. You are valuable. Your experiences and your feelings are valid, right? I honor everyone's feelings because I would want someone to honor my feelings, right? And I wouldn't want to be, given the third degree and questioned and having to prove anything to anybody, because guess what? It's no one's business. What happened to you? You do not have an obligation to share your story with anyone unless you want to. You do not have an obligation to prove anything to anyone, right? You know that. I know that. And that is what I believe. I believe in treating everyone with respect, right? Their story, their voice, their choice. And I want you to know that this is a safe place. Please know that. Please know that I am honored by the people that are in this community, every single one of you, who have been kind to others, who've been compassionate, who show love for those online and treat them with respect, because that is the type of people I want in my community. That is the type of people that you all seem to be. And for that means a lot to me. And your support means a lot to me. So I want to personally say thank you to every single one of you, because you are making a difference. You are showing kindness. You are showing love to others and compassion. I mean, when I first started this podcast, I talked about building a community, and you all have shown up for me, and I appreciate it more than you will ever know. Please know that. Also, the other thing you think about is there might be something along the lines, oh, you weren't confused, you were destabilized. So what? So they're trying to say that you're not stabilized because you think that certain things happened and they covered them up, or they swept them under the rug because they didn't want you to remember those things. Memory loss is a feature, not a bug in dysfunctional systems, right? You didn't get that right. You actually confused certain facts with other facts. So yeah, I think you might be misremembering. Or, it didn't actually go like that. You might have been dreaming about that. Yeah, that's probably what it was. You were probably dreaming about that because that didn't actually happen. See, you used to kind of make up stories. So maybe that was one of your stories that you remembered. And then the emotional outcome of a lot of this is, I can trust myself again. Because all the dirty tricks and the mind tricks that were played didn't have to be played, because you were confident and you knew what you knew. And if you were the truth teller in that and you were saying, oh, heck no, this is not, no. This is a false narrative. This is not what occurred. So, part 3, the defense rests. They did their best and other non-exculpatory arguments, which is, really wasn't my fault. Core question, why do excuses keep winning even when harm is clear? Narrative focus. This is where we dismantle the most common defense strategies families use. That's just how we are. I mean, it's been going on like forever, because we have some alcoholism in our family, we have some drug use in our family, we have some mental illness in our family. So basically, that's just how our family operates, it's really not my fault. It didn't start with me. It's not going to probably end with me. And I just don't know. Or family is family, right? You need to overlook things that are done to you because they're your family. And you need to protect your family, and you need to love your family more than strangers and outsiders who don't know you like we know you. Maybe you've heard that. I'm sure you have. You're holding a grudge. Like, why would you hold a grudge? You need to turn the other cheek and forgive them, right? Because yes, they made a mistake. I'm sure they didn't mean to hurt you. What, do you need an apology? Do you need a letter? Like, what do you need that will make you let go of this? They couldn't have hurt you that badly. Remember, Jesus says forgive and forget is what he says. So that's probably what you should do. Why can't you just move on? Like, was it really that big of a deal? I mean, that happened like 2 years ago. Like, let it go. You are so sensitive. I've told you that a million times how sensitive you are. Yes, you are very, very sensitive, and you need to let it go. Nip it in the bud right now and be done. You make one critical distinction here. Intent is not the legal standard. Impact is. What was the impact that it had on you? And ultimately, no one can judge that but you. So when somebody is minimizing your pain, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you feel that I'm sensitive. I'm sorry that you feel that I'm holding a grudge and I'm being mean and I'm not giving them a chance. But ultimately, that impacted me a lot. It hurt me. It made me feel less than. And I'm an inclusive person, and I don't think anyone should be treated like that by members who claim to be their family. And I don't think that I should continue to be manipulated and gaslit and all the other things and essentially shamed for my feelings, because it did hurt me and it did affect me. And that's not okay, because I don't treat other people that way. Nor would I want someone to treat someone that I loved that way. I try to treat people the way that I want to be treated. Can't I be given the same mutual respect and understanding? And also, let's talk about good intentions are not a defense, right? Well, I didn't mean to hurt you. I mean, I always was trying to help you. Again, good intentions are not a defense, right? Love without accountability is not safety. Explaining harm away does not undo harm. You still have that pain. You still have that suffering. You're still being discounted, minimized, gaslit, manipulated, mocked. I mean, I think probably one of the worst ones probably is being mocked. You know what I mean? Like, you're telling someone how you feel and they're essentially laughing at you. How is that helping anyone? It's not. It's causing division. Emotional outcome. I'm not cruel for drawing a line. And ultimately, if you feel like you're hurt, if you've been hurt and you are done, I mean, that is a decision that you have to make ultimately. I can't tell you one way or the other because, again, I don't know your situation. But I do know that people have boundaries, and setting boundaries is extremely important. So part 4, the verdict. No contact, boundaries, and the right to exit the courtroom. Core question: what does justice look like when reconciliation is impossible? The narrative focus. This is the release episode, not reconciliation, resolution. So essentially, no contact is kind of like a protective order, which is how you protect yourself from the things that have happened in your family that were too much for you. And ultimately, each person has a different threshold. That is an individual threshold that only you know the answer to. And ultimately, you have to make that decision. Whether or not it's something that if you want to reconcile, that's also your decision. If you want to just be done and not reconcile, again, ultimately your decision. Distance can also kind of be like a jurisdictional withdrawal where you kind of step away a little bit. And maybe make the decision of, do I want to make this permanent? Like, what do I want to do? What is in like my best interest and the interest of my family, if you have one? And then peace is a lawful outcome, right? Because ultimately, growing up in families like this, sometimes, peace can be the last thing that you ever expect to achieve, right? And no drama, no bitterness, just clarity. You are allowed to leave a court that will never hear you, who has biases against you, who will never see your viewpoint because they think you're too sensitive. They think that you are accusing them. They think that you are somehow thinking that maybe you are better than them, or that their systems aren't for you, and that you have somehow kind of maybe shunned them or grown too big for your britches for them, or whatever they want to say. Closure is not a verdict someone else grants. It's something that you make a decision based on what you think is best for you. And that doesn't always close the door for potential future reconciliation if that's something that you're wanting. Again, that's your decision. You know what works for you best and where you're at and how you're feeling. So that's ultimately a you decision. Peace is not the absence of conflict. It's the absence of coercion. And a lot of these relationships are about manipulation and coercion and getting people to do your bidding for you. And especially having to try to convince you to do the things that they want you to do for them. And the emotional outcome ultimately may be, I'm done defending myself. I've done everything within my power to show you who I am, and I feel like you still don't know me. And so here I am sitting here and realizing that I have a family who I've had for X many years, and they don't even know who I am, and they're mocking me and mistreating me, and my heart can't take it anymore, and sometimes that's what it comes down to, right? You're tired of being used, abused, ignored, and mocked, and mistreated, and gaslit, and manipulated, and it's like, okay, I surrender. Done. Thank you for tuning in to Grace and Gavel, where truth meets compassion. And I know I've said this before, but I want to say this again. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. And I hope that this story gave you a little bit, or this podcast gave you a little bit of peace today. And if you have ideas for future stories, please feel free to let me know. And thank you to each and every one of you who tuned in. It means a lot to me. And I hope you have a great rest of your night. Bye-bye.